channel. I am at work right now, and this is not actually my regular job. I am just doing a little part-time for summer school. So I'm teaching summer school at a different high school in Tokyo. Yes, high school. All right, so I'm gonna be talking about me getting, basically about getting a job that can sponsor your visa, specifically specifically an English teaching job, because that's what I do as an African person. Because believe it or not, and I'm sure you believe it, there's a lot of racism and countryism and continentism and stuff like that. When they hear you're from Africa, you're from an African country, you're not usually the first to be picked in line. You know, they're gonna pick the American or the Canadian or whatever, the New Zealandan or the Australian before you. So I guess you can understand where that comes from and stuff like that. But you know, I'm gonna talk about how, you know, what I did, where I went to look for my job, and hopefully it can help somebody out there, whether you're already in Japan or you plan to come to Japan. Because yes, you can apply for a job in Japan that can sponsor your visa out of the country. It's just going to be a longer process because they have to sponsor you from your country. So you can imagine how that can make the process longer. Some sites that I used are, the first one I went to was Gaijin Pot, because that's probably the most common site. If you go online and you type jobs in Japan that sponsor visa, Gaijin Pot is probably going to be one of the first links that come up. I had no luck with Gaijin Pot. However, the way Gaijin Pot works is you create a profile, you fill in the spots for like your resume, your high school stuff, your job experience, your educational background, your about yourself and stuff, and then you can apply for jobs, like link your profile or send your resume to jobs when you see them on the Gaijin Pot website. And also I think employers can find you too. So I had like zero luck with that. I had no luck with Gaijin Pot. I also tried YOLO Japan. YOLO Japan was a little bit harder for me to maneuver because YOLO Japan is a little bit more, I don't know, broad, I guess. They have literally all kinds of jobs. They even have jobs for influencers and stuff like that. So it's a little bit more out there, like, I don't know, like there's a lot of freelance work. Yeah, I can put it like that. Now, I've heard people try LinkedIn. I've actually been contacted by two people on LinkedIn. One person was for like a business something. Another person contacted me because on my LinkedIn, it says I'm a nurse. If you've seen my Get to Know Me, you know that I am a nurse. So he was asking me if I'm certified to practice nursing in the States, and I told him no. And he was like, he sent me a whole link if I was interested in practicing nursing, I could get certified, like follow the link and get certified, and then he could find me a job on one of the Navy military bases in Japan. And there's a lot of military bases here, but I wasn't really interested, so I never followed up with that. But where I had my luck was on Craigslist. Now, of course, Craigslist, you will find a lot of creepy posts and stuff like that, people soliciting what you know they solicit up on there. But if you go to Craigslist, I'm gonna try to insert a video. You go to jobs and open Craigslist in Google Chrome. If you're in Japan, it's going to translate it for you, because otherwise it's going to come up in Japanese. So open your Craigslist on Google Chrome, click on jobs, click on education, and it's basically going to be like a whole list of educational jobs. And you know, education is teaching. And there are some jobs that I would apply for, and then it would like there's an automatic message that comes back to me, and it says go to guidablejobs.com and apply there. And I wouldn't even waste my time. Like, if you wanted me to go to Guidable Jobs, why didn't your post say don't apply here, go to Guidable Jobs and apply there? I mean, I felt that was just a waste of my time. The first maybe 2 times it came up, I did it, but then after that I was like, you know what, this is crap. And because I'm so used to the website, because literally before I got my job, I was applying to maybe 10, about an average of 10 jobs every single day for a month before I got my first teaching job, before I got my first job, which was a teaching job, which could sponsor my visa. So I would like literally an average of 10 every day for a month. Like, that's like 300 applications. So it's not, you can't be lazy about it. Some people do get lucky. You could apply for your first job and get it, but that's really not the case, especially being from Africa. Like, the racism, the countryism is real. It's super real. I got very few replies back, and some of the replies I would get back, people would literally text me like, oh, I'm sorry, this position is only for native English speakers. And I'm like English is the only language I know. Like, how do you classify a native English speaker? And they actually do have a classification for native English speaker. So native English speaker is somebody who was born in an English speaking country and has studied in English, in primarily English, for at least 12 years of their life. I'm like, I was born in an English speaking country. Just because Cameroon is bilingual and it's mostly French, I was born in the English speaking part. Matter of fact, I know as much French as I know Japanese, which is very little, you can imagine. So people, like, not one, not twice, I have gotten that kind of response multiple times, like, oh, I'm sorry, we're looking only for native English speakers. And I'm like, but I am. Like, did you even look at my resume? All my schools, I studied in English. I was born in an English speaking country. Like, what do you need me to do? So Craigslist, I got my first job on Craigslist. I applied for the job. They, called me in for an interview. Interview tips, like, for all interviews, if you're going for a full-time job, you want to look nice, you want to have a suit on, nice clean suit on, that's your size, nothing too tight and nothing baggy. You want to smell good but not overbearing. You want to have your hair pulled back and nothing crazy and wild. You want to have natural looking makeup on and stuff like that. You just really want to represent, because obviously first impressions are a big deal. But anyway, I'm talking about how I got my job. Well, interviewing is kind of part of how I got the job. But anyway, so another tip that I told a friend and it worked for her was, wherever you live or wherever you want to live, go on Google Maps. I'm gonna try to insert like a video of that. Go on Google Maps, go to that area. In the search bar, type in like international schools or English schools and search this area. It's gonna pop up all the schools on that area. Now click on the schools. Usually when you click on the school, it's gonna have a link to go to the school's website. Go to the school's website and look around the website. There might be a little bar or something for employment or recruitment. If I am looking for a job, that's something that that's a tool that I'm really gonna look into. Like, I'm gonna first apply to the schools around me, and then before I start, going to Craigslist and stuff like that. Because you never know. Like, if you're looking for a job that way, you wanna try to touch everything. Like, go on Facebook, search Facebook groups and stuff like that. That's another way you can find teaching job. There's literally pages on Facebook that are for job seekers, and job ads get posted there on a daily basis. If it's a good active page, you want to look at that. And so what are the things I said? I LinkedIn, YOLO Japan. I'm gonna put the website links in my description box, by the way. So YOLO Japan, Gaijin Pot, Craigslist, LinkedIn, and then just looking for schools around you, going directly to the school's websites and applying through there. You cannot get lazy. And of course, the other things you need to, yeah, like your resume, I don't think I need to tell you that. If you're applying for jobs, obviously you need a resume. You need a resume written in English. You need a resume with, proper grammar and stuff like that. And in your resume, attach your picture there just so you can just, it's gonna save you a lot. A lot of people, a lot of companies actually look for that. Like in their job post, they're gonna tell you, oh, if your resume doesn't have your picture, we're not even gonna look twice. They want to see what you look like before they're calling in for the interview. And make sure it's a picture that actually looks like you. So don't send a picture where you have your face is beat and your makeup. Put a picture on your resume that has a natural look, just like you're gonna go in for an interview with your natural look. So you wanna kind of look the same. We all know pictures can be deceiving, but you want to kind of look the same. And put a recent picture too. Don't put a picture of you from 2 years ago before you had twins and gained 200 pounds. Because you're probably gonna waste your time going for an interview, and then how you show up is not what they were expecting, and then you've wasted both parties' times, and then you still don't get the job unless you really go on that interview and you just kill it and you're just smashing and stuff like that. And something that I noticed from my interviews, now I'm at my second English teaching, I'm at my second international school right now. And for both my interviews were like an hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours long. And it wasn't any like question answer session. It was just a conversation, like just constant conversation. The conversation was flowing. And that was my interview, because most often what they're looking for is like your fluency in speaking, your accent, and other things that you like, your grammar and stuff. If you're making silly grammatical errors, they're gonna catch up on that really quickly. So it's a conversation to you, but to them, that's what they're listening for. They're listening for if you can construct sentences, if you can answer questions properly and stuff like that. They're listening just to your English, as you can imagine. So that's what I noticed with both of my interviews. Now, I did have an interview with this company that recruits for like Japanese public schools. They did the interview online. It was literally like a question answer. There was no conversation. There was little conversation, but literally they had like tests. They had spelling tests for me. They had grammar tests for me. And then I did like a 15-minute interview also in Japanese, because they do want you to know a little bit of Japanese in public schools. But in international schools, the teachers aren't even required. Like, even if you know Japanese, they tell you don't speak Japanese with the kids. You can't even tell them a simple good morning in Japanese. Like, even with the parents, if they tell you good morning in Japanese, fine, you can understand what that means, but reply to them in English. So knowing Japanese is not really a factor. Now, to get your visa sponsorship, you do need a bachelor's degree. That's not even for a school's requirement. You can still get an English teaching job without a bachelor's degree. It is required by immigration to give you your visa. So, and if you don't have a bachelor's degree, you need at least 10 years of relevant experience in that field. So 10 years of experience in that field is equivalent to a bachelor's degree in them. But if you have a bachelor's degree and no experience, you just get your first job, they can still sponsor your visa. All right, something else I feel like I should mention is, because I've lived in the States for X amount of years, I feel like I can play with my accent. But talk normally. If you go for an interview, trust me, nothing sounds worse than a forced accent. That's true. As long as you're fluent, your accent really shouldn't have anything to do with it, because the whole point in trying to build an international school is exposing the kids to as many different parts of the world as possible. So really, that shouldn't play any factor to it. And another thing, no opportunity is too small. So for example, of course you want a full-time job, but if you're only getting part-time positions, you're only getting interviews for part-time positions, go for it. Because part-time positions could lead to full-time positions. And even if it doesn't, you can still be making money while you're looking for something full-time. Now, let me tell you a little story about me that it's like, wow, this part-time position thing is really like a great opportunity. So I have a full-time job. I teach at the school I'm at right now. I teach full-time. I'm there from 8:30 to 5:30 every day. And when I go home, I have a part-time job that I do online. Now, it's still teaching English, but I make my schedule. So I put out my availability. I put out my availability to the students. And so sometimes after school, I can teach maybe 1, 2, or even 3 classes, depending on if I have school the next day or if I'm tired that day or not. So I'm talking in relation to how I got to where I am now, and like an opportunity that presented itself a couple of days ago. So I'm teaching for that school. I've been teaching for them since maybe end of April. So that's like maybe 4 months now. Now, when summer school, now working full-time for a private school means summer holiday. We have about a month of summer holiday. I'm still getting paid. We have, you know, Christmas break and spring break and all of those stuff. All the vacations, you're still paid for your vacations. So I figured, you know, I'm gonna be home for a month-ish. Why not reach out to them? Because the company I work for online has physical schools in Tokyo. So maybe last month I reached out to one of the student relations officers or coordinators or whatever, and I was like, hey, you know what, I'm available from this day to this day and this day to this day. If you guys need summer school teachers for your physical schools, I'm available for that time. And you guess what, look at me now, I'm here. I'm gonna teach 2 weeks with them, so I'm getting money from this 2 weeks and I'm getting money from my full-time job. Now this is where the opportunity comes from, being a part-time worker. Now, being a part-time worker, I teach online, but they monitor my classes, so they still see what I do and all of those stuff like that. So I come in now for the tour of the school last week, and I meet up with whoever's in charge of that. And he tells me, he's like, hey, you know what? We are, you know, you're a kindergarten teacher in Tokyo. I'm like, yeah. He's like, how long have you been doing that? I said, well, I've been doing it for about 2 years now. He said, well, actually, they are, you know, I've been teaching with them and I'm a really good teacher, blah, blah, blah. And one of their teachers at their school just left them and she's going back to her country. They would like me to fill in that position. And I was so tempted. I wouldn't have had that opportunity if I didn't start with them part-time. Like, where would I even come from? I wouldn't have had that. So even though it's not ideal, if part-time presents itself, go for it. Because if they're even at the school that I'm at right now, if they're looking for full-time workers, guess what? They first ask the part-timers if any of them is interested in the position before they start looking for outsiders, because it's just easier. You guys are already familiar with the school and the curriculum and stuff like that. So if a part-time presents itself, go for it. And that's it. Let me stop talking before I die. So let me see. I hope I've touched on all the points that I wanted to touch on. I hope this video helps somebody who's looking for a job. And even though it's tough out there, like literally there will be jobs that you will go on and you want to apply to it, and it's like, oh, minimum requirement, this job is only for English native English speakers from America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and I don't know, there's like 5 top countries that they prioritize. And it's like, see, I can't even apply because I ain't from any of those countries. So that there you will meet job posts like that. But don't give up, you know, ganbatte, you can do it. Don't be lazy about it, and don't think somebody's going to help you get the job. Now, when I refer to help you, I mean, when I just came to Japan, I told you I have family here, so my uncles were here, and he gave me like numbers to a bunch of his friends, like, oh, this person is an English teacher and this person is an English teacher and him, and just call them and they're gonna help you. They're gonna put you in contact with their schools and stuff like that. It didn't happen. None of those people helped me. So if you have family here and you think, oh, you know, my uncle's here and he teaches English and he's just gonna connect me to, there's no such thing. If it's happened to you, then girl, you lucky, or boy, you are lucky, but there's no such thing. So you gotta work and do stuff by yourself. And I hope this helps somebody. And if you like my video, go ahead and click the like button, comment below if you have any questions. I'm here to clarify all your questions, and subscribe to my channel, y'all. All right, bye-bye.